Hey YouTube, this is PokeDad, and today I'm doing part 2 in a series, competitive cards that are rotating. In the first part, we talked about boundaries crossed cards that were rotating. Today, we're going to look at Plasma Storm, and we have a lot of good cards that are rotating, as you can see. So let's just talk about them real briefly and impact they'll have. The first two aren't uh, terribly important, but they are two cards that did see some play. Victini EX has Turbo Energize, so you use that and then you can attach two energies to Pokemon on your bench. And then he also had Intensifying Burn, which did 50 damage, but if it was against an EX, it did 100. So you could use him as a tech against Virizion or Genesect or Grass types just in general. What made him really cool, though, is he had an Ace Spec card, so you could only put one in the deck, but if you could get it early, you could use Victory Piece, and you could be using either of these attacks for free, needing no energy. And so he did see some competitive play even in regionals this past year as a tech card. So Victini is going to be going bye-bye. And really right now there's no great fire EXs. I guess you could say Charizard is pretty good and Mega Charizard. But without a Spirit Link, Mega Charizard just lacks a little bit. So Victini's going bye-bye. I don't know what we're going to do with fire types in the future. Nothing in Ancient Origin makes me think that there's going to be any great fire types there either. So anyway, goodbye Victini and goodbye Victory Piece. Kling Kling decks were pretty prominent. Some state tournaments were won with Kling Kling and Aromatisse actually, where they transferred energy. And then basically, it had the ability that you could not hurt any metal types with your EXs. So it was kind of mean, but you could use your EXs to fight your opponent's non-EXs and knock them out quickly. And if they didn't have any non-EX attackers, then you pretty much was an auto win for you. So Cling Clang became very helpful. Cabellion EX also was very useful in this matchup with the Kling Klang deck because Righteous Edge, for one metal type, could hit 30 damage, but the cool thing is then you had to discard a special energy attached. So he could knock out special energies so that it was hard to charge up those um, non-EX attackers. And then also, you had issues like Suicune and Sigilif. Well, Steel Bullet allowed you to break through their safeguard ability, and so you could knock them out with just two metals and a colorless. So metal decks were a little bit prominent. They did well with these two cards together. So goodbye Kling Klang and goodbye Cabellion. As far as the future of metal decks, though, I say it's going to all be about Bronzong and Dialga. Um, and Mega Aggron really hasn't caught on. I know that Mega Rayquaza Colorless is now being used with Bronzong. Um, and I could actually see some Dragon types using Bronzong to help charge them up also. So Metal might become more of like an assistant color, just like fairies kind of have done that with Aromatisse and Xerneas. But you never know. So anyway, that's the kind of the brief view of what's going to happen now that these are gone. The next three all kind of go together. Lugia EX, very strong, very fast deck. He only hits for 120, but then if you had Deoxys EX, you could hit for 10 more for each Deoxys EX. So Muscle Band Lugia, put the Deoxys on the bench, and now you can hit for 170, 180, getting a knockout on EXs. The thing about him is he had to be charged up with at least one plasma energy, and when you use the attack, You had to discard one plasma energy, but no problems because Colress machine would allow you to just charge up plasma uh, very quickly. So here's the thing: if you had a double colorless and two Colress machines, you could charge up Lugia on turn one, Muscle Band, and a couple Deoxys, and you're knocking out just about every standard EX, not megas, but standard EXs. And then if you knock him out, you get 3 prizes because of his ability to take an extra prize. Now, Plasma Energy is going to rotate, Colress Machine is going to rotate, Plasma cards in general are going to rotate, and of course Lugia is going to rotate. But there's 2 things to note. Obviously, we know one thing is that Delta Plus has come in as an ancient trait. And so Delta Plus, unfortunately, there's no great Delta Plus attackers. I guess there's a Dragonite that can hit for 150. So if you add a Muscle Band, 170. So Dragonite might take the place of Lugia, but he just can't charge up as fast as Lugia could. He is only a 1 prize card though, but it's a stage 2. So the Delta Plus cards not as effective as I think Lugia was and will be. Um, the other thing I want to talk about is there is a new Lugia EX. It's actually kind of taking the place of Mewtwo, which we'll talk about in another video. But Lugia, the new Lugia EX for basically a double colorless can do Aerial Ball, which is the same as X Ball um, that Mewtwo could do. So it's 20 times the number of energy on you and on your opponent. So if you have 2 and your opponent has 3, that's 5. You could hit for 100. So that's going to be the new Lugia, and it also has another attack that can knock out stadiums, which I think will be useful. I actually foresee in the with Ancient Origins, Stadium Wars are going to be much stronger, and I could actually see people playing instead of just 3 or 4 stadiums. They might be playing 5 or 6, and they'd be playing. Obviously, they'll have to play multiple types, and I could see that as a very real possibility. So goodbye Lugia, goodbye Plasma Energy, and goodbye Colress Machine. We will miss you, but you have replacements coming, and so we will see you again, Lugia, but just in a different form. The next one is Trubbish. This is the tool drop Trubbish, and this is the one that for every tool card in play, it does 20 damage. So, and we'll talk about this in another video, but there's a Sigilyph that would allow you to put 4 tools on it. So you could play, a ton of tools, and this guy could really hit for a lot. It did see some play in states, and I think it actually won one of the state competitions. But other than that, I haven't heard a lot of it being used a lot lately. So we'll just say goodbye, Trubbish, for now. Dawn Fan, this card is going to be sorely missed. This card is probably going to see play in Nationals this coming weekend. It wasn't really super effective until Furious Fists, where just like Landorus EX in the video we talked about previously, got strong energy and Fighting Stadium, and then throw in a Muscle Band, and don't forget Karina, and you just have a support system for Donphan. You can get Donphan's out. He's a stage 1, so he's not very hard to evolve. He has 130 HP, and he had the spinning turn, which hit for 40, but then you could put him on the bench and put a wall up to protect him, put a float stone on the wall, and then bring him back. Then bring that wall back, and then have him hit again. And he just kept hitting, and then coming back with strong energy and Muscle Band and a Fighting Stadium. Instead of hitting for 40, he was hitting for 60, 80, 100 potential there. And then also, if you could get his second attack charged up, he could wreck for just a crazy amount of damage, knocking out most EXs. And so, Dawn Fan, this one will be greatly missed by many of your fans. Unfortunately, it won't be missed by me. I hate playing against Donphan decks. Uh, However, you will be greatly missed. So, goodbye, Donphan. We might see the rise of Gengar EX. He has a similar attack, but with dark attackers like Eviltal and now the Mega Tyranitar, I'm not sure that Gengar's gonna be as good of a substitute as Donphan was. The rest of the cards are items and supporters, but they're all ones that are just so important to us. Colress, I think, unfortunately, Skyfield just came too late, and at least these last few months, we've been able to use Colress with Skyfield and been able to just have an insane amount of drawing, 13, 14, 15, 16 cards at one time, because it's based on the number of benched Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. And so Colress will be greatly missed, I think, among the community. In fact, we have N and Colress rotating. We'll talk about N on another video. There's not a lot of draw supporters left now. Fortunately, we do have item-based draw, and we do have Shaman. But Colress will be greatly missed in our community. But we'll survive, and the meta will change based on what we do have access to. So goodbye, Colress. The next one is Bicycle. This one is not going to be missed as much. Basically, you could play it and draw until you had 4 cards in your hand. But now with Shaman allowing you to draw up to 6 cards in your hand, Bicycle just doesn't seem as effective. And we also have Acrobike, Roller Skates, and Trainer's Mail, which all fill the role in some ways better than Bicycle. Though I know there's a lot of people that will miss Bicycle. So goodbye, Bicycle. As far as A-Spec trainer cards, the debate was always between, at least until VS Seeker came out, the debate was always, should you use computer search to draw from your deck, or should you use Dowsing Machine to get a card from your discard pile? And so that was the long debate. When VS Seeker came, computer search definitely gained greater ground, though you could still use Dowsing Machine to get a stadium or an item card that you needed to reuse, like a max potion or something like that. So Dowsing Machine was definitely seen in play, maybe not so much in the recent days and weeks, but it could still see play. However, all A-Specs are moving on, and so we're going to say goodbye, Dowsing Machine, to you. The final two, either you hate or you love, and maybe sometimes you love to hate them and hate to love them. Hypnotoxic Laser and Burbank City. I know a lot of people were disappointed that these didn't get reprinted, but I think I can safely say a lot of us are very happy that these are going. It's fun when you're using them, but it's not so fun when you're on the receiving end of them. Hypnotoxic Laser poisons your opponent, and then you flip a coin. If heads, your opponent falls asleep. And sometimes that sleep could last 2-3 turns. Now, the odds are it's not going to last that long, but playing Seismitoad, who item locks you, and then getting hit with a Hypnotoxic Laser, he's only hitting you for a measly 50, but then the laser's putting an extra damage counter on you, so now he's hitting for 60. And you fall asleep and you sleep for 2 turns, and he knocks you out because you never get a chance to attack back. So that was the power of Hypnotoxic Laser. It even got more powerful because in this same set of Plasma Storm they released Burbank City, which was a stadium which took 1 damage counter of poison and made it turn to 3 damage counters of poison. So now whenever someone Hypnotoxic Lasered you, it was a guarantee that you could hit 30 damage in 1 turn. And actually this allowed you to donk some cards like Execute. So it allowed for easy wins, but also now instead of Seismitoad now hitting 50 with a Muscle Band and a DCE, he item locks you, but then now you get 30 at the same time at the end of his turn, and then if you're asleep, 30 more coming back into him, and then he knocks you out the following turn. So these two cards just became really powerful, and the bane of Seismitoad and these cards. Even though they're fun to use, I think the balance of power among all the Pokemon will change now that these cards are going to be gone. So we'll say goodbye, Hypnotoxic Laser and Burbank City, and for some people they'll say goodbye and good riddance. Anyway, guys, this is Pokedad. This is the Plasma Storm cards that are going to rotate that are competitive. We'll do part 3 shortly. Anyway, hit like, subscribe, and also make sure you check out my contest that's going on right now, where you can win a booster box of Ancient Origin cards. I'll have the link in the description below. Anyway, talk to you later, guys, and have a great day. Bye.